Hello, everyone. Jamie here from the NOIC Godcast, where we offer wacky wisdom weekly from God's Word. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at how the junk from this world may seem good at first, but in the end, you'll just be spiritually sluggish. So last week, we took a look at an overview of flexing our faith, making sure that we're getting rid of the junk food, putting in the good stuff, and making sure that we're actively showing our faith in our lives. Well, today, I want to break down the junk food, or the things that are making you spiritually unhealthy and keeping you from flexing your faith. So honestly, when it comes to junk food in our lives, sometimes it can be hard to see how much it is actually affecting us. When it comes to physical junk food, we honestly enjoy it for a while. I mean, I would even say that you could probably go multiple days in a row where all you're eating is junk food before you actually start to notice it. It is the same with spiritual junk food. First, it starts with I'm just going to enjoy this little worldly thing just once. Then it turns into, well, it didn't hurt me to do that yesterday, so I'm just going to keep on doing that again today. And then it can slowly turn into prioritizing that worldly thing over the things that God wants you to fill your life with.
I'm sure you guys have heard this, but adults when they finally live on their own.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like,
but I can buy a whole cake.
I can eat cake for dinner. Or Jenny literally told me this last week. She's like, no one ever told me when I grew up, you can always order stuffed crust pizza. Yeah. You can actually do that. There's no laws, rules. You can actually do that.
It's an extra $1.
It's more than that. But I was thinking that's kind of how it is spiritually. We convince ourselves that one time won't hurt.
Yeah.
And then that one time turns into a pattern, which turns into a habit that never goes away. Yep. And before you know it, we're obese in pizza crust. Spiritually, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, growing up in my house, as a child, you were allowed, for your bedtime snack, you were allowed 3 Oreos and a half a glass of milk. That was it.
Good bedtime snack.
Okay. So, of course, growing up, you're just when I'm living on my own, I'm going to eat a whole pack of Oreos and a gallon of milk, and there's nothing.
Jacob actually took that to heart.
So one of the things is that when my mom would bake a cake, okay, she would allow us to, lick the batter. And we would always be like, why are you scraping that bowl so hard to get all that batter into that cake? Leave some
at least
for us. You know what I mean? Yep. So, and then she would give us the bowl, and then we would, in totality, maybe get 2 tablespoons of it as you're constantly scraping and licking and everything, right? So when I finally moved out on my own, I was like, I'm gonna make some cake batter and
not
eat
make
it.
any of it.
Right? Exactly. I'm not gonna make a cake. I'm gonna eat me a big bowl of cake batter.
How did you feel after that?
Here's the thing now. After I got to tablespoon number 4, I was like, I'm gonna bake a cake. Because it was
not
just
the same.
The reality is, though, I don't feel like we have that spiritually sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we have that sick stomach, I can't take any more.
Right.
The flesh just wants batter.
Yeah.
But now the opposite flip side to this is I was really shameful to say this until I said it a month ago. Okay, I may have told you this, Josh. I don't know if I did or not. But anyway, so after I had hip surgery, people in the church were very generous to make meals and bring them to me. Okay, so that lasted the first month, and I was like, I can actually, fend for myself now, guys. Okay, so I found myself not wanting to cook because I didn't want to stand for long. I didn't want to stand and stir the macaroni and cheese or whatever. Okay, so that went into just peanut butter and jelly, bologna sandwiches, and everything. Right. So then I was like, I really want something warm to eat versus, you know what I mean?
Stuff,
yeah. And then going to the grocery store, I was like, well, let's see. I can go to McDonald's and use my McDonald's app and get for less than $10, I can get a good amount of food.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
kudos to McDonald's, I guess. But anyway.
And you didn't have to do anything to get it, really.
Exactly. I just had to get in my car, go through
You
the
could
drive-thru.
sit the whole time in the drive-thru.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, telling my code, and I was racking up McDonald's points.
Which gives
you more.
Exactly, right? So then it was like, oh, I can get a free quarter pounder with cheese with this. Okay, so let's go for that, right? And then part of my mind was like, you know, if you accumulate too many points, that's going to look really bad. so you have to spend the points, right?
Not that I need to stop, but I need to spend the points.
Exactly, okay? So about 5 weeks ago, okay, I was talking to Steve Richardson, okay? And I was like, man, I really need to just start losing weight. You know what I mean? And I said before, when I lost weight, I was able to like buy like a salad mix package, and that's all I would eat that day. A salad mix package and drink a protein drink.
Yeah.
And I was good to go all day long. Right. And I was like, I just have to start doing that. Once I start doing it, I'll be able to continue to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like, oh, that's good. He goes, so how long have you been eating fast food? And I was like, since July. So I literally ate,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I knew it was unhealthy for me, but there was so many like perks
Yep.
Yeah.
to
was
doing
convenient.
it. It was convenient.
Which is exactly
What
like
we do.
spiritually what we go
Exactly,
through.
yeah, like there is-
we convince ourselves it's just this one time. It's
Yeah.
more convenient. I
Exactly.
need this for my body's well-being.
filling me.
It's filling me.
Exactly,
I'm racking
yes.
up, like this is becoming beneficial in other ways.
Yeah.
I would like to know everybody's McDonald's points at the table right now, if everybody would know off the top of their head.
Well, that's fine, but mine are mainly Happy Meals that I've not eaten. I buy it through the trash. No, Juliet mainly uses McDonald's. Our family doesn't super like it, but Juliet loves it. So
I have 32,000.
I may or may not know this. There's a cap. I've been told by Kevin.
Hold on. You just looked at me like I was crazy for 32 points, but you're like, but I know there's a cap.
Yes.
I know a guy who reached the cap.
I just looked at it the other day.
Oh, like you just know your points.
It was like 32,000, yeah.
Like so, like people get on like Instagram and Facebook. Are you like scrolling McDonald's?
Like, I gotta make sure I got some things. But they don't have the good food on there.
1,500 will get you a McChicken.
Yeah.
So take that into consideration.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I just don't, I'm like, I don't ever use the points part. I just spend money. I'm dumb.
Well, you know, so you can only use like the points for like one
Yeah,
thing. Like,
yeah,
like you
yeah,
can
yeah.
get like your McChicken, but then they're like, nope, you can't get the McChicken and $1 drink. Like you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to like, okay. So there was once I went through and I was like, okay, I'm gonna use my points for this. And though the app tells you you have to wait 15 minutes to use it again, okay? Like my thought process was
I've never tested that. That's new to me.
I was trying to use my points and save money. So I was like, I'm gonna go to this McDonald's, and then by the time I drive to Muller by the hospital, my time would have elapsed, and I can get the second part to my meal.
So again, spiritually, do we see there's like a plotting going on,
yes,
like
yes,
manipulation and
yes.
plotting, like
Exactly.
McDonald's is evil.
oh yes, let there be no mistake about that. But spiritually,
But it
like,
feels
that's
like-
exactly what the flesh does.
What I
Spiritually,
ended
we
up
just do
doing
things to get to
was-
the next thing.
yeah,
Like I was able to, as I ordered my first thing, you know what I mean? You know, you go to the window, you tell them your code number, okay? And then as I'm going around to the pay window and the pickup window, I was able to order my next thing. So I just went around the building and they would look at me like,
did you
"What,
at least
just
like
here?"
pretend?
And I
shave
was
the
like,
mustache.
I was like, the app only lets me do one thing at a time. And they were
I'll
like,
see you in
"We
5
know."
minutes.
Exactly. But like you said, the unhealthy spiritual stuff works like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that this theme so resonates with me spiritually, because it's so obvious that like physical fitness, physical health is so much work and labor. It's so much to track. It's so much to keep up on. It's expensive.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
difficult. It's not fun. It's time consuming. But spiritual junk food is so easy,
Yeah.
so common, so like, and so like just like that, like apparently at this table we need some McDonald's accountability. But spiritually we do too. And like spiritually our flesh will manipulate and plot to do the things that's not healthy for it. Yeah. But it will do that until it's held accountable not to do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we could literally gain bajillion spiritual pounds.
Yes.
Right.
Thankfully, that's not a real thing. But we could just continue to just become so lethargic and weighed down spiritually. And the longer you do that, the harder it is to break that habit and that pattern. Yeah. You know what I mean?
What broke my pattern, thankfully, is that I was going through McDonald's and I'm waiting for them to give me my food. And I'm like checking my phone, and an ad came up for that Monopoly app game. Okay, and then the girl at the window, she goes, "Oh, you're playing the Monopoly game." And I was like, "No, it's just an ad." And she goes, "It's very addictive." And I was like, "I don't need another addiction in my life." And she said to me, "Oh, like McDonald's?" And I was like,
so this is a whole new level. When the McDonald's cashier holds you accountable for too much McDonald's, then you know there's a problem.
And I looked at her and she goes, "Yeah, I see you here a lot." I was like,
I feel that.
I want this lady's address to send her a card. That's a wonderful story. That is great. She needs a raise.
That was the accountability of
like, oh, these people know me.
Yeah, exactly. Like anything else, like if you're spiritually doing something unhealthy, and then you realize that the people, like the worldly people, start to know you by your first name, you're like,
I think that you hit on it earlier, Kevin. We're just gonna hijack this.
I don't really care. It's fine.
The thing that I was thinking was, yes, accountability, but sometimes people just are like, nah, like I'm good. Being 3,000 pounds overweight spiritually. Yep. Sometimes it takes God's breaking process to open our eyes. So I was literally like, this is reality for you, but I was thinking of the Bible story. So you think of the story of Jacob. And Jacob's name literally means deceiver, conniver, right? And so he's living all of his life doing this plotting, this manipulating. He's living on spiritual junk food, if you will, trying to get his way, appease his flesh. And it comes to a point where God has to do what? Break his hip. Yeah. God has to literally physically harm Jacob to get his attention, and from there on out, his name is Israel, and he serves God, right? He desires spiritual health, not spiritual junk food. Yeah. And so I feel like that should be a warning to us, and it should be a something that we have in the forefront of our mind. Like, what are we actually intaking? Because God can put an end to it, and God will put an end to it.
Right? Yeah.
If we're not willing to be accountable, He will account us to it.
It's funny because like so like as I actually one of the students at LifeWise was talking about prayer, and they said, I pray for God to remove anything from my life that He doesn't intend for me. And that coming from a 12-year-old, I was like, I don't think I've ever said that.
Yeah,
Let me.
I don't know if I have the nerve.
The gall.
The gall to say that.
So, I've been praying
I can just imagine that McDonald's worker showing up Kevin's door. Like, God sent me. I don't really know why I'm here.
Here's a McChicken.
It would have been more like if I would have said, excuse me. Yeah. And she would have been like, God told me to say that to you.
God said that this is too much.
Too many points. 32,000 is where we have the limit.
Exactly. So it's like, we may not pray for it, but in our heart, we want God to remove these things from our life. But He's like, okay. And then He starts removing him. And then we're like, oh, no, wait a minute. Can we go slower? Yeah. Like, start with the least harm. Like we think, like, here, you can have my apple pie. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can have my small fry. And He's looking at your Big Mac like, hello. That's really the problem. You know what I mean? We're like,
well, it's just like the whole thing of like when you and like usually like with a spouse, like especially with the new year, like you say, we're going to eat healthier this year and we're not going to eat out as much. And then you get mad when the person won't let you go out to eat. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you made that decision, like we're going to stick to this. And you're like, you're actually going to stick to that? Yeah. Like, I was just joking about that.
We did it long enough.
Well, and that's the thing too, is with this, and this is where I'm actually going to be going, is this could happen at any point. But especially with where we just came out of, I think it's really easy for us to spiritually and physically be in this slump, in this slug. Because like, I don't know what happened between like the 23rd and now, but it was a tornado. like everything went like crazy, and there was so much time.
Year or okay? I was like the 23rd year, like 2023 or
like 23rd, like
December
December
23rd.
23rd. Yeah.
December 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 weeks, I don't even know what happened. I didn't know what day it was most
Well,
of
and
the
I
days.
feel like, and maybe I'm alone, but I really feel like this time of year, like in the wintry months, the gray outside,
Yep.
and like you can't go outside with the kid. Like it is really easy to get in the slums
Yes.
spiritually.
Yeah, it
like
is.
I
It
feel
is.
that.
Yeah.
And so like we need to be alert, but then we also need to not fall in for the traps of.
Yes.
I mean, I know like we're trying to eat healthy. We're working really, really hard at it. It's been 2 long weeks. Actually, it's been one.
I was
This is the second.
this is
It
the
feels
second.
like 2. It's only been 1.
And really, when you make
Sunday
that
is the
decision,
first day of the week, so we're entering the second. But it's like you said, like we commit to something, but then we bend the rules. So like Sundays, there's all these sweets here. It's just Sunday.
Yes.
And we have to convince ourselves that no, I want this. I want to be spiritually healthy. I no longer want this junk food. I no longer want what pleases my flesh. And so I'm sticking to it. I'm committing to it.
I think what's funny, like, because we're comparing physical health to spiritual health, is that almost everybody I know who goes on a diet, right? And even when I was eating a salad bag a day, I couldn't wait for Friday because I'm like, Friday is my
day.
cheat day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, or like, kind of like you said, like how many of us do a diet and we know in our mind this is not permanent for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so we don't have a confidence in this reality that we're walking.
We're
in.
like, I
It's
can do this
almost
for a
like-
month.
Yeah, like
then I'm gonna be done
everyone who
with it.
diets knows it will come to
You
an
start
end.
that Bible plan, and you're like, I'm going to read 7 chapters a day.
But we don't have a.
And then you don't stick to it.
Absolutely.
Right, I think the difference is that, for example, when I was losing weight, I was trying to get under a certain weight so I could have hip surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you apply that to a spiritual aspect, you know what I mean. For like, I really can't think of a reason why someone would want to only be, know God for a short period of time. You know what I mean?
Well, you want to go do stuff and not feel bad about it? You think you're not going to feel bad about it?
Yeah, so it's like, like I'm just going to be spiritual until I get saved, and then I punch my ticket to heaven. Okay, like I don't.
Or
I hope
it's
no one thinks
I'll
that.
get through this thing that I'm going through.
Right.
Yeah, okay, that's a great example. Like, I'm having trouble, I'm going to go to church, I'm going to go Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday night services, I'm going to read my Bible and everything else. And then after you get through that storm, you're like, okay, I made it.
We brought this up last week. The problem with that is because that's how so many Christians live. The problem with that is that's religion, not relationship.
Yes.
Right.
That is
100%.
goal oriented. If I do this, I get this. That's
Yep.
religion. That's not Christianity.
Right.
Christianity is a relationship. And so what we mean by that is there is no depth. That you like, there's so much depth to God, you can never know enough of Him.
Yes.
And
Right.
so if that is what you're pursuing, and that is spiritual health, there is no end.
Right, yeah.
Yep. And I think that's the thing is like, actually, so with this whole thing, I have like a lot of confessions to make to you guys.
Oh,
Because
boy.
It's so much fun.
We're ready.
And so again, like what I was just saying with the last 2 weeks have been like absolutely crazy bananas. And so Tolkien got sick. And then after Tolkien got sick, I got sick. And then we had to go to Columbus twice in the same week, different days apart. And then while we were there, we had a wedding. And then we came back. And then I threw my rib out. And then I threw my back out. And then it was like a lot of things.
Are you sure your name's not Jacob?
I know, seriously. It was a whole lot of things that happened all at once. And I'm not going to lie, I allowed myself to be like, I kind of threw a pity party about it. Or I had to miss church because Tolkien was sick the one Wednesday. And then I came Sunday, but we didn't have Sunday night because it was Christmas Eve. And then I missed the next Wednesday because I was throwing fevers. You know what I mean? And so like I missed church. It was only 2 Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And then Sunday because of the wedding. And so I was like in this pity party mode, like this, like I'm just gonna sit here and watch reels and YouTube because
I'm gonna eat a whole bucket of ice cream.
Yes.
Spiritually.
And honestly, for me, I allowed the time that I would have normally spent doing my devotion and doing my Bible reading. And I was like, well, I'm sick on this couch. I'm just going to watch my reels or I'm going to watch YouTube. And none of those things were like bad necessarily. There
There's
wasn't
just no nutrition.
Exactly. So there were videos and it wasn't like they had bad things in them and it wasn't something that you would consider even like sinful. It was just taking up my time and it crept up on me so quickly because all those things happened
does.
in succession. And that's what it's really important when it doesn't matter what's going on in your life, take that time. It doesn't matter where you have to fit it in at, preferably in the morning because I feel like for me, I'm more of the person that like if I put something, I'm a procrastinator. So like if I don't do it right off, then I won't do it until late, like way later than I should have.
Like, what time did you write this last night?
Last night at 9:30 o'clock.
9:30 or 5.
And so like that's my thing is like take that time. I know that with everything that's going on in everybody's lives, we just came out of Christmas. Everybody's house is probably a wreck except for Rachel's because she already put her Christmas decorations away.
I do too.
I don't know how you guys
New
do
Year's
that.
Day.
I need to because my tree will burn down. It's a real tree.
I may have said this before, but in Rhode Island, I want to say you have to have your Christmas decorations down by January 14th.
Is it outside
By
or just
law.
inside?
By law. I'm guessing outside of that, like,
Yeah.
they're not going to come in and
Hello, I'm
inspect.
here to check. I'm here to check your.
But even still, like on the 15th, like, woo, woo.
Like start going down through everybody's houses and start tearing off all of their.
I think that one thing, though, and we kind of mentioned this a little bit with McDonald's, is that I think spiritual junk food is addictive.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you were saying with like when you're sick, you're just like, that's just what my body needs, and there's no
True.
nutrition there.
Yeah.
But like even when you're doing well, like when you're not sick, like I find myself like I'm getting better at this. But I'm sitting down doing my daily Bible reading and devotion, and I hear my phone buzz.
Yep.
And wouldn't you know, there goes my hand.
Yep.
Or my watch, or and I'm getting notifications.
Or somebody needs something.
Yeah, I get contacted constolly. So but again, what is that? That's a need for something outside of nutrition, spiritual nutrition.
So the funny thing is about that is Tolkien is very young, and so he still like comes up to me and bothers me quite frequently.
Yeah.
And so like if I can't just be like, shut up, kid, I'm trying to read this. And so he comes up to me, and the funny thing is that I don't work as hard to make sure I get my devotion in as I do making sure so like if I have to leave my devotion, I'm like, well, I guess I'm done.
Yeah.
But like if I'm watching a reel, I'll be like, I'll be right back for you. Like you have to work
and it's the
just
same
as
way with
hard.
food. Like we do, we sometimes you can't finish your dinner. I just can't eat those peas. Oh shucks. But never do I let the ice cream melt in the bowl.
Exactly.
Never.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think going back to what you said earlier about when you were missing church and everything.
Yeah.
So man and women have like our nature is to sin.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So the further we get from God, the more we fall back to our default. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to stick close to God, because that's the only way that you're not going to, you can't will yourself not to sin. Now some people say, yes, I can. The problem with that is that if you recognize a sin in your life, okay, you say, I'm not going to do that no more. Okay. You may be able to go months without doing it again, but you will do it again. Where if you rely on God to help you defeat that sin, then that sin is defeated.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what's really it baffles me when people are like, oh, I don't need to go to church, or I can miss this day and this day and this day. Listen, there was a lot of things they were out of my control. I had to do those things. Like I was sick and he was sick, and it wasn't like we could just be like, hey, I have 102 fever, let me just come in here. But like, you have to make sure that you are keeping yourself in line, even when you can't be there.
Yep.
Right.
And that's what's really important, is that this isn't about making a check mark. Right. It wasn't, me missing church wasn't now I feel bad because I didn't make my checklist. It was, I was spiritually starving because I wasn't getting the things that I needed.
I think that like it's so obvious. Like if you've gone a long time, which probably at this table not a lot of us have, but if you've gone a very long time without eating sugar or junk, and then you eat it, you feel so. No, I can't relate. You feel that like sick feeling, that worn down, that tired. Like sugar does that to our body, and it's so unhealthy for us. And our body, like we get used to it eventually, but it really can make you feel so ill. But when you are eating healthy, you feel a lot more awake and vibrant. It's the same way spiritually. Like we get on Facebook and we scroll. We Facebook. It's an Aldi's version I use. We
can't
get
afford
on,
Facebook.
That's right. We get on TV and we watch all this stuff. Whatever it is that we fill our minds with. It's the same way spiritually. It leaves us feeling icky and tired and worn down and lethargic. And what we really need is to be in the presence of God's people. We need to be in the presence of God. We need to be seeking His face, learning and growing in Him. That's the nutritional value that our souls crave and need to stay healthy.
Yep.
I think so. Many moons ago, I tried this crazy diet of eating 500 calories a day.
Oof.
Okay, it worked. Okay,
I drink 500 calories.
What are you drinking? She purees her Big Macs apparently.
voice.
But
That's like a third of a Big Mac. But it's okay.
It is. It's fine.
And like I got to the point where I didn't even want to do the cheat day because I was like, no, because I need to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Calorie deficit, yeah.
Yeah, right. So I remember one particular time, some friends of mine, like we were gonna go to Five Guys, and I was like, all right, I'll go to Five Guys, right? And I got out the car and I could smell the grease from, inside. And I was like, you guys go ahead. I'm gonna sit in the car because I can't even take the smell of it, out here. Yeah. So to apply that to your spiritual health and everything is that when you get so close to God, eventually those unhealthy spiritual things, you're going to be like,
it doesn't sound that great.
What is the saying? Like it takes 13
13
bites to change your, like you like something. What is that saying?
Yeah, there's like, it's something like it takes 7 weeks to make a habit. Is
right,
that
but
the
there's
one?
like something you can eat it a number of times and then you actually like it. And
okay.
I don't believe that, but that's what I've been told by you two, I think. Sounds like some
It sounds like something that sounds
you're trying to convince
that sounds
me
like
on.
really smart ideas.
hey, let's try to trick Josh and see if he'll believe this.
Never will like pickles. I don't care if I eat them 1,400 times. It's not going to happen. But I think spiritually, though, like there's the whole debate of like free will versus sovereignty of God. I do think that we talked about this last week. There is a component of I have to do this spiritually healthy thing that I don't want to do for so long until I need it and crave it.
Yes.
And I have to stop doing the spiritually unhealthy thing long enough that I want to do that eventually I'll recognize it's harming me and that smell is atrocious.
Yep.
Right.
But our problem is we just want God to just come in and make us do things. But if we did that, it would be religion, not relationship.
Right.
So there's this whole component of just like dieting, just like real health and physical health, you have to want it bad enough to engage in it long enough that it sticks.
100%.
And you become healthy.
Yeah.
And that's our goal.
Because like most people in the world who, are lost and like you try to talk to them about, guy in there like, go fly a kite in the highway. So,
is that what the lady at McDonald's said next?
I don't know if I've ever told someone that.
I bet you if I went back to that McDonald's and was
She's
like,
probably not there anymore.
like
They don't
never worked
stick
here.
around.
I don't know who you're talking about.
We left the door locked one day.
One day.
Like, this is a movie. Like, you know what I mean? The McDonald's Angel or something. But,
He just had what is the Christmas movie with the bell? The angel gets its wings.
The 34th Street, Miracle on 34th
Miracle
Street.
on 34th
Is that what it's
Street,
called?
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
Isn't that
I
not
don't
what it's
think
called?
so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways.
But
Every time I can't make that
Yeah.
work. Never mind.
it's
It's too
Miracle on
long of a movie
34th
title.
Street. Yeah. But little side note that is the only movie that features Santa Claus where the actor playing Santa Claus won an award for Best Actor for playing Santa Claus.
Oh, interesting.
Is it really?
No.
Yeah.
How about every time a McChicken gets its bun? No, I still can't make it work.
He's trying. He's trying over here. Should I bring this in for a landing?
Yeah, let's lay out this sucker.
So the junk food of the world will leave you feeling empty and unsatisfied and wanting more. Toward the end of my crazy busy time, I realized that I was so discontent in everything that I did. I was discontent with my house, my family, and myself. And I did not feel at peace with anything. When this is a time of year that you should be thankful and you should be starting afresh, starting new. And honestly, I was just like, yeah, I was a little bit mean. Sorry, Jacob. The world's food will taste good for a moment, but it will never give you any lasting benefits.
See, that could have been your quote for the day. You actually quoted Muller. But
I did.
That was a good
was me.
landing line.
That was
Rachel,
me.
you can quote Jamie next week.
Look at that. Today's considerable quote is from George Muller, so it's a dead guy.
It's a real person.
It's a real person,
Oh,
real
my
dead
heart
guy.
is so happy.
Good one too. He's a good person.
He is a good person. The first great and primary business to which I ought to attend every day is to have my soul happy in the Lord.
Yeah, and knowing his story, like he would literally spend hours before the Lord. And so he was eating spiritual salads.
And that's the thing is like, I think that like everyone has different lives. And so you fit your time in when you have to fit your time in. But there is something just different about starting the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That way.
I am convinced that there's enough biblical precedents to say that we're supposed to start a day with God. Like there's enough Bible there.
Yeah.
There are many people who are not morning people who would argue that, but I think there's enough evidence there.
Well, even if it's not morning, just the first thing you do.
Yeah.
You know what
It
I mean?
could, you woke up at 1 p.m.
Yeah, if that's your morning, like that's fine.
Exactly, yeah. Just
go for
start your day off. Yeah. Because when are people setting their alarm like super early and then like, I don't want to read this and fall back asleep. But I think what you're saying is
First.
the first thing
The first thing that you can
regardless.
cognitively
Whether that's
do.
5 a.m. or 5 p.m., the
Yes.
first thing.
Right.
Yes, the first thing. This week's featured content is This I Know by Lydia Laird. You know,
I don't know her or that song.
we sing a song, I'm pretty sure, by Lydia
This I
Laird.
do not know.
Oh, you do not know. What was last week's trivia? Oh, it's on here. Wow,
it's
CJ,
right
look
there.
at that.
CJ, look at it.
Look at it, CJ. Good job. So last week's question was, what is currently the most popular workout method? And the answer was C, weightlifting. I actually thought HIIT.
HIIT is my preferred. That's my Jenny hates HIIT. That's my preferred. Like my go-to is HIIT.
HIIT
High
cardio?
intent.
No, but see, you
Basically.
can do HIIT with weightlifting. That's
You
what I
can,
prefer.
yeah.
I didn't think weightlifting because I feel like most people
Make everyone happy.
like
We can have it all.
I'm cycling while
You can
weightlifting.
weightlift and cycle, but it's not recommended.
Well, I guess I was thinking the currently most popular workout program. I was thinking like New Year.
Yeah.
And I feel like most people don't start out with
weights, yeah.
They start with cardio and they're like, I hate this, and then
Yeah.
they go to weightlifting.
I love cardio. Like I'm the weirdo.
I like cardio.
The thing with weightlifting is like, so you hear that muscle weighs more than fat. Okay, so you think like weightlifting, I'm gonna build muscle, I'm gonna weigh more. Like, you know,
Yep.
like that's the.
I think that's the thing that people try to overcome because they do it to lose weight, but then once they
Right.
realize, oh, this is healthy weight gain, not bad weight gain.
Right, which again flips back to spiritual. You know what I mean? It's like, well, if I do that,
Get your spiritual gains.
you know what I mean? Like, yes, I will become,
That's the
spiritually more healthy, but that's a bad side. Like they try to come up with if I become closer to God, there's a bad side to that too, and I don't want the bad side to it, so I'll stay right where I'm at.
Yep. All right, so this week's trivia question: what is the most popular candy bar in America? So this is the most sold, so I would assume it's the most eaten.
Get
because
behind me, Satan.
It's the most. That's the name of
After
the
all
candy bar?
you've said today, after all you told us, you tempt us with this question.
I do.
Now all I want is that.
So A.
all of them on
I really just
Are
want one of those, maybe two, mainly
like
one,
Reese's?
just one.
I only eat two of those.
Kit
Other
Kat all
two
the
I
way.
don't eat.
Kit Kat's the best cake.
Have you ever had a white chocolate Kit Kat?
I have.
No.
I love white chocolate.
Yeah, I like white chocolate.
It's too much. Like I like
It is very
thin.
rich.
I like a thin white chocolate.
So A, we have Reese's.
Oh yeah, we should tell them what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
we should. A is Reese's, B is Kit Kat, C is Milky Way, and D is Snickers.
Jamie, when you're not yourself, you need
A Snickers.
How many Snickers have you ate this week?
I had none. I was so bad. I was just mean to everybody.
Wow, a lot of birthdays.
Yeah, we have a lot of birthdays. I think I chose the right birthday rounds. I think.
Sure, why not?
Why not?
Looks like it.
Why not?
CJ
Okay.
approved.
I just do it.
CJ's like. So happy birthday, Paige. How do you say that?
Whited.
Whited?
Whited.
And then our own Joshua Sorrell.
He's old.
I told your daughter.
The first comment she makes on the entire episode.
Listen, I told her today. She's like, I'm like, when do you go back to school? She's like, on my daddy's birthday. I'm like, oh, well, your dad's gonna be old. She's like, I don't want him to be old.
She has a thing about her getting older, us getting older. Like
Yeah.
it's a real
I mean,
fear.
you're not supposed to have that fear until like my
yeah,
age.
she has it, and it's real.
Melody Polly, Jonah Barbosa, Olivia Hinkle, is that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
David McMillan.
Questioned all these.
I question
Is
everything
it
I
your
say.
birthday? We don't know, but happy baby.
We're just in you. That
Braylon Blows and MJ Blows. Happy birthday, guys.
Happy
That's
birthday.
super
Happy
fun. But I feel like the January birthday story, or like you just came out of Christmas,
Yeah, no one cares.
and so
I
everyone's
know.
like, eh.
I get gypped every year. It's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So does Lucas because his is the
Yeah,
18th.
his is right before.
Did we have any mailroom? today?
No, we did not. We
We
want to
had a lot
remind
of
you,
comments though.
What's the sad?
We did?
Well,
Oh, yeah, we had lots of comments about nonsense.
Thank you.
Normal.
Thank you for the nonsense.
We want to remind you all that registration is open.
And they're coming in.
May the and
Are
they're
they
coming
really?
in.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
We have several that have come in. Actually, even today we had more come in.
Yep.
So registration is open.
Get your
wanna,
spot.
We want to tell you now.
Well, wait a minute. Registration for what?
For camp.
camp.
Okay, you didn't say that. You
Oh,
just
they know.
assumed.
They know.
The NYC
NYC
2024 registration is officially open. They are coming in officially, and we want to remind you this year specifically, you need to reserve your spot. We do have a cap. We expect to hit that cap this year. There are some things going on behind the scene, new churches joining us. And so it is paramount that you reserve your spot. Make sure to get registered and register soon.
Yes.
And so we're super excited about this year's game. May the record reflect, for the first time in NYC history, registration opened the first week of January.
Which is like crazy
That has
bananas.
never
It opened when we
happened
said it would.
Yeah. There's been a lot of times we've said it would be open earlier and it wasn't. But this year we did good. Good, guys. We didn't lie. Good.
We had nothing to do with this.
But we can act like we were.
Take the win. Yeah, that's fine.
It was a good thing, so we'll take the advantage. But yeah, no, thank you guys for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe and share.
Sounded really old German the way you said that.
I was thinking that was like a generic Sonny and Cher. Sonny and Cher. Aldi's version. Okay.
You give Aldi's a lot of plugs.
I do. I love me some Aldi's. I just don't
That
shop
cheese
there.
floor, man. What you just
So he loves Aldi's, but he doesn't shop there.
It's because they don't have a pickup.
They do.
Do they have
We
pickup?
picked up on Christmas Eve and we saw the mimosas in the parking lot. I almost said Miguel. And then I remembered he couldn't see. And he was like, wait, you lied. You told me you don't shop here. I was like, shh, you didn't see anything.
I don't shop here. I just pick up from here.
I'm not shopping, I'm picking up. There's a difference.
But yeah, you guys have a good week, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
That was his next word. Which I was like, I'm uncomfortable.
What?
That's what I mean.
I became a monk.
I read that slide and I had a stroke right then.
Are you recording that?
Yes.
Just for our own personal pleasure.
Nom 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 nom.
I thought I was talking to the. I thought I was talking to the Cookie Monster.